In this video, we will examine a worked example demonstrating how to shift the values within an array. Here are the subgoals for evaluating arrays. First, we set up the array from 0 to size -1. Then, we evaluate the data type of statements against the array. Finally, we trace the statements, updating the slots as we go. Here is our problem to solve. Assume that the integer array alpha has been properly declared, has a length greater than or equal to 1, and is full of data values. Evaluate these statements and determine the values in alpha. If any error occurs, give the reason. Then, we are given this code. For subgoal 1, we set up the array from 0 to size -1. We know that alpha is an array of integers and has values, but we don't know what those values are. So, we will set up an array that goes from 0 to size -1. Remember that alpha.length will give you the array size. For subgoal 2, we evaluate the data type of statements against the array. In this code, we have a reference to alpha sub 0 and a reference to alpha sub length -1. Both of those indices are valid, and both contain assignment statements with the integer variable start, so the assignment statements are also valid. Inside the loop, we have the statement alpha sub I is equal to alpha sub I plus 1. For the loop bounds, I will go from 0 to less than alpha.length -1, or to the value alpha.length -2. So for alpha sub I, the indices would go from 0 to alpha.length -2, and for alpha sub I plus 1, the indices would go from 1 to alpha.length -1, all of which are legal. So all of the indices in the array are valid, and all assignment statements are valid. For subgoal 3, we trace the statements, updating the slots as we go. Let's trace it with a sample array. The first statement is the integer variable start, which receives the value at alpha sub 0, which is 12, so 12 is assigned to the variable start. When we go through the loop, I begins at 0. Inside the loop, we have alpha sub 0 equals alpha sub 1. The value at alpha sub 1 is 22, so it is copied into alpha sub 0, or position 0 in the array. The I is incremented to 1. Alpha sub 1 gets the value at alpha sub 2. The value at alpha sub 2 is 8, so 8 is copied into alpha sub 1. I is incremented to 2. Alpha sub 2 gets the value at alpha sub 3, which is 15. 15 is copied into alpha sub 2. I is incremented to 3. Alpha sub 3 gets the value at alpha sub 4, which is 2. So 2 is copied into alpha sub 3. I is incremented to 4. Alpha.length is 5. 5 minus 1 is 4. 4 is not less than 4, so we exit the loop. Notice at the end, alpha sub 3 and alpha sub 4 both have the value 2. The last statement of the code says alpha sub length -1 gets the value start. This puts the value in start, 12, into alpha sub 4. Notice that we have shifted all of the values to the left by 1 and placed the initial value at the end.